Crit, 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 crit. Okay, no crit. No! Hey guys, Mr. Poki here, back with another video. So just now, I was busy streaming MOC for the past, I think, a 6-hour stream. I basically tried to push MOC as high as I could, and as you guys can see here, I ended up with 21 out of 30 stars, which I'm more than happy with, and I got hard stuck at stage 8, essentially. And then after this, I also helped my viewer clear some of his MOC stages up to stage 5, 15 stars with his, I would say, suboptimal account. His account essentially didn't have Silly and didn't have Jingyuan. We essentially tried to rely on Dan Heng, Bai Lu, and Silver Wolf to try to carry us to 15 stars, which I was also pretty happy with the results. So with regards to specifically playing your MOC, right, like my viewers, I'm happy to do like account reviews talking about your unit compositions as well as your relics, or even playing your MOC for you. Just drop by my Discord and leave your name, and I'll try to find a time and try to just do like this kind of MOC contents in the future, right? So it's basically like a piloting sessions of the sorts. Right, so with that out of the way, I'm just going to let the B-roll speak for itself, and then I'll just be explaining through the B-rolls and essentially how my week went when it comes to MOC. Alright, so for this section, I was essentially going through my gear with my viewers, as well as answering some of the questions with regards to why I would want to use these gears or relics or light cones, this kind of stuff. So it's super straightforward. The main takeaway from this, I would say, is I think my gears are not the best for sure, but I would say that they're also not the worst. So for those of you guys who are actually considering on holding off for farming gear all the way until Trailblazer level 65, right, I would think that that would not be a very wise decision if you don't even have a barely serviceable set for you to get through, at least maybe until some stages of MOC. As you can see here, I did extensive gear farming, I think, throughout some pockets of levels, like in Trailblazer 50, a few here and there. I've done like a few hundred staminas just to get my main core gears going. And I would say, as long as you get that out of the way, there's really not that much option to just keep farming gear, because I think Tracers gives you a higher benefit from 60 to 65, as well as experience between 50 to 60. But as long as your gears are more or less workable for to help you clear MOC, then that's just all there is to it. So yeah. So this will be MOC 1 to 5. I think just based on our last week's performance, right, these stages don't really pose that much difficulty in our account. And with the addition of Silver Wolf, this just made most of these runs even easier, like even more straightforward, because some of the difficulties that we face, or rather not difficulties, but rather just inconvenience, right, that we face because our elements were not matching, well, they were easily resolved with the addition of Silver Wolf to our team, right? So for example, if the enemy is weak to like fire and quantum, for example, alright, then if we want to force Jingyuan into the fire team, it's going to be really difficult last week. But with the addition of Silver Wolf, she can easily just mark the lightning weakness as long as we use Fire MC, Jingyuan, and like some other stuff, right? So this just essentially just goes to show how valuable Silver Wolf is, especially for accounts at the earlier progression, right? Because you are unable to farm and build multiple elements to target every single one of the enemy's weakness. That's just really not possible with the amount of resources that we have. Even for whales that topped up like thousands of stamina, right, it's still rather difficult to build up a fully functioning multi-element team as of this stage of the game right now, because you want to farm for gears, you want to farm for tracers, levels, light cone experience, all this kind of stuff. Even for whales, it's pretty difficult to farm up all and cover up all elements, right? And that's where Silver Wolf comes into play, and how she can really help us reduce the amount of resources needed to build multiple teams, and just implant the right weakness and help us make our like Jingyuan comp or Silly comp work even better against the enemy, right? So that is the main highlight from MOC 1.5, or rather this entire week, with the addition of Silver Wolf. Another section that I guess I would like to talk about is we've also developed some of our gears strength with regards to Silly, because I was desperately trying to farm for Silver Wolf's speed boots, right, in Genius set. And over that course of run, I actually got a few decent crit pieces as well as attack percentage boots pieces, and I was yeah, so I managed to slap onto Sile, which previously was using a purple attack boots and purple crit piece, but now we've upgraded it fully to go. So now our gear for Sile is slightly better. So the clear speed for MOC this week is with Sile is also slightly improved. But for rest of our units from LC 1 to 5, you can see that there's really not that big of a difference. I didn't really work on any other people's gear, and even the Echoes of War drops, right? The three attempts I get per week for the past 2 weeks also didn't give me a lot of very good options. So our gear is pretty much stagnant, right? And another thing that I guess I could talk about here, as you guys have probably seen from some of the comments in my chat, is that I've made a few errors when it comes to some of the moves that I'm making. Like for example, Sile, right? You can actually proc her ultimate before she casts her Resurgence as long as you click the ultimate button fast enough. So if you do that, then you're able to use the ultimate followed by your E so that the energy created by your E is not wasted, right? So just some of the examples of the mistakes that you can make. So I'm just saying that even if you do make these mistakes in MOC, just don't beat yourself up about it. Like, it's okay even if you fail. Like, if you fail a run because of that one mistake and you want to mount, you want to be like, oh my god, how can I lose this entire run because of that one mistake? Just take it easy. I feel that this kind of thing just comes with experience. As you play the game long enough, right? You will know naturally, like instinctively, what kind of things you should be doing. Like, so for example, if you play Celia long enough, you will know to, okay, if you're definitely going to kill this unit, then you 100% need to go and press the out if you can have an out, so they can out into your E instead of doing E into out, right? So just some of the examples. Learn from the game, enjoy the game, don't really beat yourself up too hard even if you make some of the mistakes in your play, especially when it comes to MOC, right, where this is essentially like the hardest content in the game. You can't really autoplay this game anymore, so yeah, just take it easy and enjoy the game. I would say that the main difference for MOC 6 this time compared to last week was the addition of Silver Wolf allows us to go into a lot more offensive in the first team, and this allows us to pivot into more defensive options in the second team, which was the main issue for MOC 6, at least for me, because I didn't have enough heals or shields to cover up for the double Searing Prowlers later on. So the Bronya stage just go all in on Silver Wolf Sile, and they should be able to easily clear up the first part of the MOC 6 with very little issues at all. So as you can see here, we are now able to utilize both March 7 and Natasha for our second team, and this really helped us to reduce the amount of survivability pressure on our Jingyuan and Tingyun, especially Tingyun. And because of this, we were able to easily heal back up our team to a very healthy level on top of the shield provided by March 7. And as such, MOC 6 is now a lot more doable as compared to the previous time. Alright, so stage 1 of MOC 7 for us was pretty straightforward because both of these ice bosses, as long as you are able to break them before they manage to cast the Everlasting Winter, which is like this huge AoE damage, then there really shouldn't be much issues. And because we have both Sile and Silver Wolf, breaking them and their weakness bars is going to be very, very easy. So as long as you have both Silver Wolf and Sile, then the first part of MOC 7 should pose no difficulties to you whatsoever. Alright, so for second stage of MOC 7 is a little bit more tricky, but the general gist of it is, first of all, you must target the single target guy, which is the guy with the chainsaw, because he does a lot more damage to your team than the fat guy. And then the second point is you must break the fat guy right before he does his sumo jump, which is the overcharge ability, and jump and do huge AoE damage to your entire team. As long as you're able to break him before he does the sumo jump, then it removes a huge portion of his damage. So yeah, so that's the two main mechanics you will need to do for MOC 7 stage 2. So the reason why I feel MOC 8 can be essentially the second part of the battle. The first part is still okay, as you guys can see over here, which is essentially dealing with the Frost monster and the guy that seals your skills or seals your attacks. As long as you're able to break the Frost monster before he casts his Everlasting Winter, which is something that happened in the previous MOC, then this part is still relatively straightforward because he essentially won't do any damage to you if you can cancel his AoE damage. The second stage of MOC 8 is where the real issue lies, because my team just simply do not have enough AoE damage. Like, my Jingyuan is not well built enough for his AoE to just instantly kill the mobs, and this leaves out 5 potential targets to slowly pick our team off one by one. And when that scenario happens, then our healing output, which is Natasha, will not be able to keep up with the damage we are receiving because our DPS isn't strong enough to clear the mobs. And then we just do this. No! We win those. Right, so that's all for my MOC progression in 1.0. Hopefully next week, because of our 2 single welt as well as E1 Yanqing, I hope to raise them up and bring them up to speed and hopefully manage to clear at least up to MOC 10, even without Pilot or Japat, right? Because I think welt is gonna have some really high value with the nihility buffs. And yeah, so that's all for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.